Very good morning, 2 years old. I went to bed last night with 18 subscribers, woke up with 21. That is brilliant for the channel. Thank you for your support. Keep going, keep telling your friends, families, co-workers, unco-workers, whatever. Tell everybody, like and subscribe. Hit the link button, whatever down below, do what you need to do. And remember, stay tuned for the time-lapse montage. Camera. Good. Hello and welcome back to Rolling with the Spectrum for another edition. As I said at the start of the video, thank you to my subscribers who have shot up now past into the 20s, which I am stoked with. Thank you very much. Let's keep this rolling. Like what I did there? Keep it rolling with the Spectrum. Before we move on to today's subject, I've already thanked the viewers for liking and subscribing to the channel. At the start of the show, had my little Quokka family rocking out for Rolling with Autism. If I can get above 1,000 subscribers, I know that's a big ask, I will try and roll out some merch for you guys, especially the first first 21 subscribers at least who are watching this video. So let's keep going in the right direction and get the subscribers up to 1,000 so I can roll out some merch with the Quokka family on it. Maybe some hats, singlets, and t-shirts to start off with. But anyway, I want to roll on with something a little bit, I wouldn't say deep. The first time, pretty much, that someone mentioned to myself, asking if your child may be on the spectrum. It does hit a little bit hard when you first hear it. So here is my story. So the first time actually this subject come up was at home in my living room with my wife at the time. We were married together. And essentially she got the phone to her sister. I think it was a FaceTime phone call. And the sister noticed that the younger daughter was tippy-toe walking. And, you know, I've seen that before. I think I used to do it too as a kid. So I haven't been tested. So I don't know if I'm on the spectrum. That's for a later story, so note that one down in your diaries, guys. But anyway, yeah, so the ex-partner, or wife at the time, turned around and said to me, "Do you think she's autistic?" And back then, I knew what autism was through, you know, stories like the Rain Man and, you know, the old Asperger's syndrome, which I knew one or two people with, who just seemed like pretty normal people to me, I guess, because I wasn't aware of what autism is or was at the time, and I just looked at her and went, "Nah, you got rocks in your head, woman." And she goes, "Nah, something's up with her." Yes, something. Now she's been diagnosed with autism, but the road there was, I wouldn't say tough, but it was different. I'm sure you guys have all been there. In one way, shape, or form. You got your own stories to tell and so on. But when we were down in Perth, prior to moving back to Darwin for work, etc., the wife and I at the time were actually working shifts, not shifts, but working regular jobs, you know, different times and stuff. So my mum used to come down and babysit on a regular basis for the two girls. Do school pickup, drop off, daycare runs and whatnot. So my interaction with the youngest one probably wasn't as intimate as it was with the older one growing up, because of a bit more separation there with work and having the family support down in Perth. So typical dad, I'd come home from work, kids get excited, you play around with them for a couple of hours or two before dinner time, you know, At this age too, dinner time, she'd eat everything you put in front of her. She's like a freaking vacuum cleaner, like her big sister is and still is. Over time, that changed. We'll go into that in a bit later. So yeah, in Perth, everything to me seemed reasonably normal. She did have very hyperactive, so I always had that hint that she may have ADHD, and bingo, turns out that she did as well as the had a touch of autism. So back down in Perth, everything seemed to be fine. She's eating dinner. She's going to have a bar. She was pretty much copycatting Big Sister, I guess. I wouldn't call it a type of masking because of how young she was, but she just seemed like a regular kid with a bit more hyperactive. She a little bit naughty at daycare. Get a phone call at least twice a week saying that she'd fallen over, hurt herself, or she'd punched or bit someone, and vice versa. So I knew she's a bit of a troublemaker from the start. I need to say that. But so yeah, we've packed up at the end of I think 2020 to move back to Darwin in 21. Pretty much ripping this kid out from her safety net of having this house in Perth, nanny on a regular basis to do the babysitting and bit of housekeeping at home, and stuff like that. So pretty much ripped this poor kid out of her safe environment and took her to this foreign land up in Darwin. Granted, she was born there, but she didn't know anything about it because she grew up in Perth. So fast forward, probably about a month into it, mum's away on work. I'm looking after the two girls on my own, doing a single parent thing, rocking out gourmet dinners every night for dad and whatever the kids wanted. That's when I started noticing the decline in what she was eating as well. Big one. And I thought that was just due to a bit of, a little bit upset because mum's away. And a bit of dysregulation because we just had this big move. Mum's just gone away to work and so on. So I didn't really take it as, hang on, she's on the spectrum. But what I did notice, the her regulation in emotions was changed drastically. So there would have been a meltdown for getting into the car, getting ready for school, going for a bath, even going to sleep. This is before I even knew about melatonin and stuff like that. So my education on the spectrum was at all-time low and sort of in denial that the child wasn't on the spectrum at all, but may have a touch of ADHD. So that's where I was at this stage, and I was starting to pull my hair out because this kid wasn't listening. She wasn't doing what she's told. When she was calm, she'd play with the toys. She tiptoe walked back and forth the bathroom, which to me, yeah, we were on tiles here. Like we had tiles, carpet in Perth, tiles up in Darwin for obvious reasons. I thought, it just doesn't like the feel of the tiles yet. She'll get used to it and tiptoe here and there. But no, it ended up being autism and lining her toys up. And I didn't even know that was an autistic thing back then either. So there was a lot of research coming pretty quick to find out if she was on the spectrum or not. So that was the first sort of inkling I got that she was on the spectrum as such. So um, don't know if any of you can relate to this story or have similar stories or vastly different stories with that. And that's what really got me thinking, I guess. Yeah. So anyway, roll forward, a couple of months, 12 months even. Um, we all started realizing, thinking, we need something to control these meltdowns she's having, like the tiptoe walking, the lining of the toys. That didn't seem to bother me. It was more of the dysregulation she had with her emotions. The fact that she just couldn't control them. So yeah, that's when I think then it was we had the break up and stuff. So obviously her emotions were a bit more escalated as well. So between moving to Darwin, mum working, I was working too, by the way. So she was with these new people who she'd never met before at daycare, at school, and that. So you can imagine how tough it'd be on that kid, as it is, let alone someone who's on the spectrum as well, like for a normal adult. that's just enough to sort of hard enough to take up, I guess. So um, yeah, so fast forward, it's like, oh, let's go to the doctor and see if we can get something for her. Like, we didn't know the process. Had a few friends whose kids were diagnosed. They inputted their help when they could, uh, but their story is obviously different to ours, and the path that we took, while they were very similar, were also vastly different. Most of the people we knew who had autistic and ADHD kids were boys. We don't know if it was a thing down here in Perth or other states, but in Darwin, it was the case of, nope, we're not going to touch her until she turns 6. So here's two parents stuck with this kid having meltdowns, 2 or 3 meltdowns a day, wrecking the house, destroying classrooms, and there's nothing we could do. So obviously our mental health was taking a hit. Our um, work, was taking a hit as well. We get called up from school to come and get her. Obviously, the school is a big thing. We had the kids in private school up there. My recommendation is for a kid on the spectrum is don't go public. There's more government funding to help the kids in the public system. Anyone who's watching, who has been through this, put a comment in the comments down below. And if you agree with me, just happy days. If not, tell us your experience. And a lot of teachers I do know down in Perth who work with autistic children are all pretty much public schools because the government funding is so much better. Where the private schools, no offence to them, are all about their image and their look and their prestige. And that where public schools, depending where you are, I guess, are all about the children in a sense. So um, that's got to be another story anyway on teachers and how they cope with children on the spectrum. We've just seen in Queensland, teachers go on a strike for certain things and education support and whatnot. So we'll touch on that a bit later. So continuing on with my story though, and the ex-partner story, we're in it together. We do co-parent quite well on that front with our daughter, even both kids really, and stuff. So working together to get the diagnosis process rolling. It's pretty hard going to a doctor saying, "Look, can we get a referral for a paediatrician?" And because we think she's got autism and ADHD, they just look at you and go, "Oh." But anyway, we got one. Saw the top, using the inverted commas there, the top paediatrician in Darwin who deals with this stuff. Not going to mention her name because I know a lot of people have had some good results with her and experiences. We didn't. We just got told we were shit parents and to go away and use emotive language like, I see you're upset. I see you want this. I see you want it, which infuriated me at the time to do it. And let alone it infuriated the kid that was already heightened in a sense with her fight or flight going off the Richter scale. So we're back to square one. It's like, where do we go? So done some digging, spoke to a few friends, found a paediatrician that's quite happy to sit there and talk to us like humans and to treat the child like they meant to, which is really good. But unfortunately, we got the old story, oh, we can't do anything until she's 6. Well, we knew boys who had been diagnosed earlier with ADHD and autism. So we're batting our heads up against the wall. So anyway, we got her on a few meds to try and help. Didn't do shit. And that, so it wasn't until the very end before we moved back to Perth for end of 23, she turned 6. I think if my maths is correct. Someone who knows me on here, tell me if I'm right. Yeah. So yeah, we had to jump through the hoops, I guess. Get the referral from the doctor to the ped to the psychologist to get referral for the psychiatrist. The psychiatrist signed off on it after doing numerous tests. To me, um, it felt like a big money grab at the time because with two parents sort of at wits' ends with it. Um, we're stressed from work, stressed from because we're both moving down to Perth together, stressed because we had to get the girls in new schools when we moved to Perth. Hopefully, we had family support down in Perth, which thankfully we do. You guys know who you are out there and that. So, big thank you and a shout out to the family down here. Um, and yeah, so the ball, it rolled, but it hit every freaking obstacle on the way down, and eventually got there when she was 6. And all of a sudden, oh yeah, we can diagnose her now. We can do this. We can do that. We can do everything. So 20 million bank loans later. No, just joking. We didn't have a bank loan, but lucky we're both employed, I guess. So the family is doing it tough out there. This takes longer for you guys, and I appreciate it. That you need the extra support out there and stuff like that. So yeah, long story short, we've got the ball rolling in Darwin. Finally got the diagnosis we want halfway down the coast. Well, I was halfway down the coast anyway. Kids were already in Perth, loving it with Nanny, and that's where life started changing a bit more for the better, I guess. We got the support that she needed. That's the hard thing too. Like the support that we're getting at the moment from certain providers has been very good. A shout out to them too, who've been helping us along the way with this roller coaster journey um, for the diagnosis stage. Like that was a big process. That took a lot of energy on the ex and myself. And I think we brought that energy down to Perth, so it sort of hit a few other people along the way to open their eyes up to see how tough we had it. I'm not saying everyone else has it tough, but I'm assuming that most of you haven't had a great run getting at least your girls diagnosed. So, big shout out to the families out there who are doing it tough, who are getting denied, who are getting, she's a girl, it might not be this. My biggest takeout from all that happened um, from our start of the process in Perth, where someone goes, I think she might be autistic, and the mum going, I think she's autistic. Mother's intuition. Dads, listen to the partners. You may not agree with it, like me at the time. I was totally in denial that she was autistic. If you told me she was ADHD and that was it, then I would have probably accepted that a bit more because she was a little shit growing up, and she still is, and we love her for that. So, but yeah, having the girl on the spectrum and ADHD, we got laughed at by professionals, I guess, until we found the right one. So do your shopping if you can, if you're lucky enough to. If you're not, at least reach out to the support services out there who can hopefully lead you in the right direction and so on. And obviously, this is the basis of this channel, is to share my experiences. Hopefully, like I said, I can get people on to share their experiences. So it is a tough road, and it can be easy if you have the right people supporting you. If you've got no one, it can be an absolute shit show. Um, Obviously, we paid for all this by because we're both working, so sort of privately. So I don't know what it's like publicly. I'm assuming the wait time will be phenomenal, and you poor fuckers out there are not having the best time. And this is the whole point that I want to raise with this channel, and to stop these roadblocks. Any other sort of disease, not that autism is a disease, but if your kid had a broken arm, they'd fix it. If your kid had a stub toe, they'd fix it. Because they can't see autism. To some people, they don't think it's there, and it's harder for parents to get their word out, I guess. So so that's where I stand with it. That was my journey so far. I'm loving her quirky little autistic traits that she has. She's my little one. She's really funny to be around. Now we've got her sort of diagnosed, got the intervention with the OT and stuff like that. But the wait times for that, even privately, that we did was 18 to 24 months long. So stick it out, follow your gut, follow your instincts, and like I said, I'm trying to expand this channel, but fuck the system. Go for it, and we'll try and make it better. And this is the reason why I'm here to help you guys. Tell me what you need to do, and hopefully we can push for a better, safer autistic world. So remember, guys, peace, love, and autism. It's just a quick one before I actually leave yous. Next episode, I will get down on the computer and find out what providers there are out there to help you guys publicly and both privately. So stay tuned to the next episode. Thank you for watching. You know what to do. Like and subscribe.